Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Our pal Paul Stone has got this new Substack up. It's called Guillotine, is set to drop, and I'm just going to share a little bit of it. The Agora project, which I never even heard of before until I read this Substack. It's 40 of the world's largest banks cozying up with the New York Fed and some G7 central banks. They claim they're speeding up cross-border payments with the new digital currency platform. How considerate of them. But let's be real, this isn't about making life easier for us. It's about giving banks even more power, centralized power. The idea that this improves the system, laughable. The system already works just fine for them. Agora is about ironing out time zone differences and regulatory frameworks banks love to whine about. It's consolidating their control over global finance, laying the groundwork to dominate the infrastructure behind money. Here's a good question. Is your local credit union involved? The town bank, did they get invited to be involved? No. It is a who's who of global financial giants, JP Morgan, HSBC, UBS, Japan's MUFG, and many other mega banks. These institutions already control global finance. Agora just cements their power. It's a collaboration between banks and central banks led by the Bank for International Settlements and the Institute of International Finance, creating a club for the financial elite. Oh, and this is the wholesale central banking digital currency. Translation, it's not meant to trickle down to us commoners. This project isn't about you. It's about serving the financial world's needs, making them impervious to your harmful choices and protecting the environment. And we're not alone. In Asia, another digital currency project, mBridge, is brewing. Meanwhile, economist Peter Schiff warned on X, Twitter, that the U.S. dollar index, which just hit a new low for 2024, is, quote, on the brink of a major collapse. Schiff predicts it could drop below 90 before the year ends, sparking a U.S. dollar crisis with consumer prices and interest rates skyrocketing. According to MarketBeat, since the Fed's rate cuts began, bond yields have climbed. Investors are losing faith in lending to the government, hinting that the Fed may have acted too soon, with inflation likely to bounce back. This could force the Fed into an ugly overcorrection, shaking markets. But for now, stock markets will probably keep rallying, LOL. Because why? Because they're still printing money. With trillions of dollars poured into the financial world every year from thin air, where do you think the excess ends up? Why do you figure they use the term bubble? Well, let's bring in the author of that Substack, Paul Stone. He's the co-founder and CEO of Colonial Metal Group, a Florida-based precious metal supplier that helps clients develop secure retirement plans by investing in gold and silver. I have. His writings appear at thepaulstonesubstack.com. Paul, welcome back to the show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Jimmy. How are you? It's great to be back.
Well, I'm doing okay. I never heard of the Agora project. How did you know about this?
Well, I do research. I'm constantly looking out for things to, try to make light of. If I was a representative of something, it would be the individuals here in America. And this financial world, technology is moving to remove that individualism. So this is important to me, and I want to make light of it. There's not much we can do to prevent that, but we can become knowledgeable of it, and there are some things we can do to avoid it.
So this really is when you say cementing the bank's centralized power, what do you mean by that?
So the next phase of this, and it's very complicated, it's called tokenization. So if you remember when NFTs were the rave, you could own a Mona Lisa, you could own a tokenized digital version, an immutable version, so you couldn't, draw lipstick on her or anything, of that exact original Mona Lisa. And they're trading. They were like stocks. You could make money on them, you could lose money on them. So a token is for me to try and explain this. It is the digitization of an entity. So Agora project is even going as far as proffering the capability to tokenize your health records.
Really?
To analyze how we may better make the human race healthier. So another attack on red meat. So when you, the other thing about this, there's an acronym called DeFi. So it's the centralization of money by decentralizing the borders, if you will, financial borders. So it would be the world benefits from the world's information, but it's those in power that benefit because when they say they want to run things more efficiently, that means how do we take the analog out of it? And you and I are always going to be analog. And that's where our rights, our freedoms, our autonomy continues to get stripped away to where we will end up feeling, if you don't already, like a transistor on a motherboard. You're just a revenue generator. That's what humans do. We generate revenue and we spend it. That's like a transistor. It just transits something. It just transfers something to something else.
And so why do you think, I tried to look up, so I saw your Substack. I'm like, oh, the Agora project. I'm going to go cross-reference, see what the mainstream media is saying about this. I can't even find anything about it. Why do you think that is?
You know, it's the mainstream media generally are owned by massive corporations. Microsoft, I believe, once owned NBC, started MSNBC, Microsoft and NBC, right? General Electric owned ABC, I think it was. So when you just look around, I mean, this does, for all of us in our age category, it feels like a James Bond movie coming true. Control the media, control the messaging, control the money, control the man.
And so I mean, the fact that they're not writing about it is very suspect to me, especially.
Right, that's what I mean. So they're not going to draw attention. In Europe, they might be, because this is born out of Europe's think tank, right? This is the Bank of International Settlements and the Institute of International Finance. This is Europe-influenced stuff, just like the International Monetary Fund might be headquartered in the States, but its clientele are international. It's constantly trying to help countries without the ability to print money finance themselves on an ongoing basis. But yeah, here in America, plus I don't even know if people in the media, here's the stark contrast. So my pastor in church would always, he'd talk for a few minutes and he would say, so what's the point? He would speak for us. He would speak in the third voice. He would say, what's the point? Who cares? Why you care is it's just another gigantic move towards literally the digitization of human beings. If your records are encapsulated in a database that there's no 800 number for you to call and complain about or protect, or even know if someone was reading over your records or looking over your finances, this also moves to include your credit score. And they make the claim that with smart contracts and better analysis, they could do much better than the current method of calculating one's credit score. They have a better way to predict defaults. And you'll notice in their analysis that they're, looking to compare minorities, which is, something to constantly be considered. But in a way, they're looking at the lens they're looking at this through is, how are people being disenfranchised or unfairly denied credit? Or how could others be punished, even though they're very credit worthy, to make room for those who aren't? It's like if we were born out of the seeds of everyone gets a trophy. This is the type of thinking you get now 20 years later.
Okay.
And it's happening. It's a project.
Yeah. And it is, I know the CBDCs, these central banking digital currencies, is a way, it's certainly a way to control people, not unlike a social credit score in China. It will soon be tied to, your carbon footprint. And if you're spending your money correctly, and then some central banker can shut off your money, and that's not paranoia, right?
No. So this is exactly what's happening. So this is almost like the final few sentences before the exclamation point is added in when the conversation is over. This is the knowing of your health records, your health situation, knowing of your purchases. Maybe you don't eat healthy, so they're just going to deny the transaction. You want Funyuns, you eat Funyuns 3 times a week, they're going to deny those transactions as you swipe. The transaction will be denied. You might get a message, remove the Funyuns. I mean, it's going to be creepy. Because they're literally with you. They have the GPS data. They'll have the buying power data. They'll have your health records and living information data, where you are, what you do, where you drive all day, if you're having an affair, and all of the things that you would be, a little embarrassed about spending money on. Well, that's gone because they'll see it. So all those industries that, the darker side of humanity, they'll struggle to exist. There'll be a lot of suggestions on how you could correct your living, your credit score, and not only then all of this combined, a social score. Wow, look at you. You quit eating Funyuns for a month now. You quit eating red meat for 2 months now. You quit, you got rid of that carbon, sucking gasoline car, and you got an electric vehicle, and your score goes up. And they lead you into giving up everything that you used to enjoy or what was unique about you to subscribe to what they require of you to now get along in this digital world where you literally are, your existence is a token. Tokenization it dovetails. It's like you get the money piece, but you don't have the tracking piece. You don't have the verification piece. Tokenization verifies everything about you that it's reading is accurate. And then it can go on to document how it should change society in any little armpit part of the world or the head of it or the shoulders, just anywhere around wherever the human race is spending its time. It can make alterations to how those people are living.
I could just see them saying, oh, you want to buy ivermectin, but you haven't gotten your 10th booster. Oh, I'm going to deny that transaction.
Oh, they could put anything that produces ivermectin out of business. They would just, you literally wouldn't be able to see it. The internet would be next. They're talking about the new iterations of the internet. Once all of this is put together, like this is the glue that would stick all of these things together. What your interests are, what you do, what you spend money on, how you live, how you eat, who you spend time with, where you go. All of that stuff would give them a blueprint to the human race. And they could drill into, we've seen the spy movies where they've got a satellite and they can drill down and read a playing card in your hand from, those satellites, by the way, are way out past the moon. That's powerful technology. So when you start to think about this, and I'm not trying to alarm people, I am trying to give credibility that there's a giant governmental and corporate part to our world, our planet, that is continuing to move and has the power to make things wildly incredible for them and at the cost to you, your individualism, your freedoms, your rights. And you got to look at how real that is so you could, make choices. Maybe living and chasing the almighty American dollar just isn't something you're going to continue to do anymore. Maybe you're going to move to the countryside and have a life that's a bit more analog than the dependent life you have today on everything digital. So you could still get Netflix in the country.
If they can, this is why I'm interested in precious metals. I'm interested in gold and silver because I have no trust in this digital currency. It is gold and silver. That's real. Like that's not digital currency, right?
Right. It's as real as this revolutionary cannonball I have on my desk. So they wouldn't be able to shut off my access to my gold that I purchased for my retirement. No, of course not. And, when you look at what they're looking at, they, that crazy evil eye that was in Lord of the Rings movies at the top of that, Temple Mountain, it sees what it sees, but it also focuses on what it focuses on. And it's not focused on analog money. It's not focused on the few people that find the courage to make a move from dollar-based things to gold and physical gold and silver-based things. It's not looking at that. You can liquidate out of gold and silver anytime you want into the financial system. You can get paid in any currency for your gold and silver. So it's a way to store, your savings, your wealth off the grid, if you will, because it lives in a safe at home or in a depository nearby. Those depositories aren't sponsored by states or governments or financial institutions.
Okay.
They're private.
Okay.
Private as you can make your money. I mean, it's out of the options that you have, it's the only one.
All right. And, you know, I bring this information to my audience because I would want someone to bring it to me. And so that's that I hope people understand that. And, you know, you're the guy who knows about this, and you're the guy I rely on. So that's why I turn to you, and I can't get over it. I just want to let people know about everybody should go. There's a lot more to that Substack than I had time to show you. There's a lot more to it. It's very interesting. Everybody should check out Paul Stone's Substack and read the rest of that article because it is fascinating. All right, Paul, thanks for making time. I'm sorry, I wanted to have you on with Mark Sloboda to talk about the BRICS and de-dollarization, but there was a tech problem. We couldn't have two people on at once, so I apologize for that. But all right, we'll look forward to talking to you again soon. I hope everything's going well for you.
Could I just make one last plea for people that are watching and listening?
Oh, sure, go ahead. Thanks,
Jimmy. I know you've had a tough evening, and I appreciate your flexibility. You know, I do the same thing, Jimmy. I've been looking, at issues and what scares me about our betters lording over us and how that continues to enlarge. And I look at how that wrecks our ability to enjoy our humanity around us. And it's clearer now that there are two worlds. There's where you and I breathe real air and eat real food and drive around and do things and get together with buddies and family and argue and laugh. And then there's the world that's digital. And I just want to mention that the sexy appeal to the new offering that's always tech provided through us through technology, we have to get better as humans to look past where it ends up taking advantage of us later. Taking things from us, removing our humanity, our spirit, turning us into a collective. One of my favorite shows is Star Trek, and one of the evil alien antagonists in that show was the Borg. And the Borg is just looking more and more like we're headed into. We're just literally going to be those things in a digital world that create revenue and expend revenue. And that's it. I mean, it's horrific. These are all of the major governments around the world. These are all the major financial institutions around the world, the major central banks around the world, and even Hong Kong. And guess who owns Hong Kong? China. So this is a collaborative effort to literally streamline all of the little irritants that they feel bother them or slow them down or make it harder to calculate and project risk versus reward scenarios by mitigating the inefficiencies and the delicacies of humanity itself. So I don't come to these conversations to help encourage people to own precious metals. Precious metals sell themselves. I take the time out of my day and get a little nervous every time I get in front of a camera for the benefit of those who just haven't gotten enough courage to make a change there on their own by reading this stuff on their own. That's why I do what I do. I give a damn. I care. My heart breaks for what's going on right now. Soon I'll have a book out about it in January.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, but thank you for letting me go on and on a little bit. You know, you got to let me go on a little bit.
No problem. No, I mean, we are living in a brave new world. If anybody's familiar with that novel, and it's a real commingling of 1984 and Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, and it is here. And I can't believe the zombification of people in many different facets, politically, economically, and culturally. And they don't even know that their strings are being pulled. They don't even know they're being controlled. It's here. And so that's why I talk about these things. I try to wake people up to it and try to give them what little ways they can kind of blunt that and push back against it. But I look forward to your book, Paul. Thank you very much. Everybody check out Paul's Substack. And thanks again for your patience tonight, buddy.
Oh, of course. Of
Okay.
course.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me, Jimmy.
All right.
See you soon.
See you soon, pal. Hey, I believe in having a substantial percentage of my financial future secured with gold and silver. That's why I decided to partner with our sponsor, Colonial Metals Group. They helped me set up a safe and secure self-directed IRA where I have access to my assets no matter what the stock market or, for that matter, what the government is doing. Let the team of experts at Colonial Metals Group help you protect your family's future. We put together a special offer for our audience. Click on the link in the description below or call the special 888 number, and you can receive up to $7,500 in free silver on a qualified purchase. Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.